Thank you. Good morning, everyone. All right. So, room check real quick, okay? I have a lot of information, so I want to make sure that we get the information to you in the time frame. So, I'm going to save questions for the end. So, if you have questions, please make a note and write them down so I have some time to answer your questions at the end. Are we cool? We good? We good? Okay, cool. All right, let's get started. So I want to ask you a question. I want you to guess who the highest paid author is in the world. In the world, highest paid. I want to hear some guesses. I got to hear them out loud. Okay. Okay. living highest paid. Okay. What you say? Okay. Anybody else? Okay. Okay. That's your first. Now, who do you think the second highest paid author is? Living. I ain't living. Yes, you right. You right. Okay, y'all not guessing to the second. That's okay. Anybody else? Okay. He's like, I don't look. I don't even know. Okay. All right. Here's somebody's close. Somebody's close. Here we go. Here we go. The highest paid author is J.K. Rowling, and you want to rise. Yes, there. And the second highest paid author is James Patterson. Okay. So J.K. Rowling, 1 billion, has made $1 billion. And James Patterson has made $750 million from books. Now, what do you think the average income for an author is? So just an average author. Okay. Okay. Average. Okay. So yeah, that's it. Final answers? Okay. Dun dun dun. According to a study, the average author, we're talking about average, so we're not talking bestsellers or anything. We before you even get there, $1,000 a year. Okay. So the best-selling authors a year, a year. Like they did a study and reached out to all these authors. It was 5,000 authors, $1,000. That's low, right? You got a little, you felt a little way in your spirit about that, okay? So the best-selling authors who sell 40,000 copies a year average about 60,000 to 180,000 per year. And so if they do speaking engagements, if they add that into their strategy, then they're adding another 100,000 to $200,000. So if you don't have any other strategy, if you're not a best-selling author, you're just an average author, hey, I wrote a book, that's what they're expecting you to make. And so we have to figure out what do we need to do to get those numbers up, right? Because as you see, the best-selling authors, they're best-selling, but their income is also coming from their speaking engagement. Their income is coming from their brand and who they are and who knows them and all of these things, right? So I'm here today. We're going to answer some questions about what does it look like to have this brand? What are the elements to building your author brand? And so I'm going to cover mindset, your brand positioning, your brand story, a publisher summary, your promotional video, and digital footprint. Cool? Is that cool with y'all? I can't hear you. Come on now. I need energy. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So, before we get started, I'd like to introduce myself. So, thank you so much for that lovely introduction. Most people do know me as a best-selling author, a mother,
Author, a mother, a wife, a
brand coach,
brand coach,
to
to
grow
grow, studied in
for
Paris
a
for
year,
a
and
year,
of
and of
course, the
course, the
co-owner of
co-owner
the
of the
salon
salon
suite
suite
here
here
in South
South
Atlanta
Atlanta
for
for
Chic.
Chic.
But what
But what
most
most
people
people
don't
don't
know
know
is
is
I have been abused. I have gone through depression. I've had suicidal thoughts. I have attempted suicide 2 times. Okay. I have dealt with fear, emotional and physical abuse. Okay. So to get to where I am today, most people don't know your stories. A lot of you have stories, and I just want to make sure. Can we check the TV? Okay. Cool, cool. No worries. No worries. We got y'all. No worries. Give us a second. It's coming, y'all. We coming, y'all. Hold on. Okay, maybe I just need. Okay, here we go. Yep, we're gonna have to. All right, we're back at it. No worries, y'all. No worries. Okay. No stress. All right, here we go. So now, after I have endured all of those things, overcome all those things, wrote my story about those things, I'm now able to help young girls and women share powerful stories, turn their personal pain into triumph stories because I decided to heal and learn forgiveness. So there is a story that you all have written, whether it's your personal story, whether it's a business, there's some testimony, right? That you're getting ready to share with the world, but the world does not know anything about you. Let's be real. And so we want to make sure that they get to know you. Okay? All right. And so I've had the opportunity. I've been on Fox, I've been on TV, I've been on the Zoe Life, God Made Millionaire. Um, and I just learned a lot from the process of writing a book, authoring a book, but all of the things that came after that. So it was my yes to writing the book, to all these opportunities opening for me. And I didn't want to write this book. I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I didn't want to write the book, and I'm sure a lot of you are thinking, I don't want to sell the book. You know, I wrote it, right. I did what I was supposed to do. I wrote the book, and it's that yes that leads to those opportunities. However, I was intentional about my success. I was intentional about the yeses that I said. The TV opportunities that came, I had never been on TV before. So I need y'all to understand, I didn't come from some media background. I went to school for business. Uh, that was what my undergrad is in business, my MBA is in business, but I've always been a natural speaker. And so when somebody comes and says, hey, we're getting ready to put you on TV, I didn't get any notes. I didn't get the questions beforehand. I just said yes and showed up. Okay. So there are going to be a lot of opportunities that come to you all. And I want to encourage you right now to just say yes. Okay. We good? Okay. And so, what I want you all to do, I want you to picture this and take a moment. 10 years from now, your brand is on the front page news for achieving greatness. Okay, think about it. I want y'all to think about it. Look, we're engaging. I want you to think about it. Close your eyes and think about it because y'all not thinking. I want you to see it. You see the cover, Forbes, Vogue, whatever it is, right? What does the headline say about you? Have you cured a problem? Have you changed the way people do something? What does that success look like? Really envision it. Because in order for you to step into who you are and what it is that you're supposed to be doing, you have to have some type of vision. You can't just write a book and say, all right, I wrote the book. People are going to start buying it. I shared it with my cousin and my mama and my auntie, and everybody's just going to buy my book now. No, you have to have the courage to stand out and say, okay, I'm going to be intentional about this success. Okay. So think about that. And so I want to talk about your mindset and what that looks like. And so, perseverance. There are going to be times when you want to quit. I'm sure there's times now. I'm sure there's times when you were editing your book. I'm sure when you were writing your book, okay? And you were like, I'm done. I'm over it. This is it. I'm out. And then some of you, how many of you have already published your book? Like, it's published, it's done. You ready for the next step, okay? How many of you are in the process of writing your book? You're writing it, it's getting edited, okay? Okay, yes, okay, cool. So you have to learn, you already know what that perseverance looks like right now. But as you move forward, you just want to make sure that, hey, in my mind, you know what? I know that everything is not going to work out for me the way it's supposed to work out for me. I know people are going to say no. I know media outlets are going to say no. I know I'm going to have opportunities to get on TV and something might happen. Okay? I want you to have that mindset that no matter what happens, keep that vision. Remember, because there's intention behind having that vision, right? Keep that vision in your mind to say, no matter what happens, Lord, I'm going to push towards that vision of who I see myself to be in 10 years. The cover of that magazine. And Lizzie going to tell y'all how to get on there, okay? But it's visual. You got to visualize yourself there first. You can't just call Lindsay and say, hey, Lindsay, I want to be on the cover of Vogue. That's not how this works. It's not how that works. Okay. You got to have bravery. You got to be bold. You got to go out there and look for opportunities. And even if you don't have the experience, hello, me. I know Prophetess Chanel, and she came from the background of media and arts. And so it's natural for her as well. It's not natural for everyone. And so if you're not brave enough to take some opportunities that you might not necessarily be qualified for, right? I don't have any. I could have easily said, I'm not going to get on TV. I never been on TV. Y'all not going to give me the questions before I get on TV. What if y'all get up there and y'all ask me something and I don't know the answer to the question, and now I'm looking up and I'm looking like a fool? Right? This is real. I'm talking real life right now. I'm being very transparent with y'all because this is real. Like, even in me standing and walking onto this set, even from the yes to walking to the set being like, oh my goodness, I can't believe I'm about to get in front of these cameras live, Fox. And I don't know what's about to happen. I don't know what they're going to ask me. Okay? You got to be brave. There's bravery that comes with what God is calling you to, okay? You got to be the brand. You have to step into, you have to have the image, okay? You have to be intentional about how you show up. You can't show up without your makeup done. You can't show up without your fit, okay? Your outfit, whatever it is, that vision that you have, you got to become that person. You can't just see the person on the cover of the magazine and say, "Oh yeah, I'm that person." Be the person. What does that person do in the morning? Every morning, what do they do? Every week, what do they do? Are they supposed to be pitching? If they're not pitching personally, are they hiring somebody to pitch for them? If I don't know how to do my website, let's be real. Am I just going to hire somebody to do my website? Am I going to make an excuse as to why I can't be my brand? Okay. And then trust the process. Different people always asking me, well, I need this brand strategy and what am I supposed to do? And I'm like, I can't answer that question like that because everybody's process is going to be different. However, whatever that process looks like for you, don't shy away from it. Trust it. Okay.
Oh, that sounds amazing.
And so let's talk a little bit about your brand story. And if you're interested in connecting with your audience faster, if you're interested in attracting new opportunities, increasing your sales, and having a powerful brand that stands out amongst the crowd, we're going to talk about building your brand story. And so your brand story is a combination of how the world sees you, who you are, and how you add value. And to craft a compelling brand story, you must understand your personality and your values so that you can weave it into your business. Who are you? Let's be real. Do you ask that self your question in the morning? Who am I? What values do I have? If I say that I have faith and integrity in everything that I do, is that how I show up? Do I have integrity in the things that I do when people are looking and not looking? This is what having values mean, okay? It's imperative that you're honest with your audience about your success and your struggles and your lessons and who you are because you overcame those struggles. And why do we need to tell the audience our struggles? Tell me. Look at that. Look at y'all. Y'all paying attention. I love it. Because people trust real people, right? If you can relate to me, if you've been through what I've been through, or you can walk me through, you don't necessarily have to have been there, but you understand the process and you can show me how to get from here to here. Of course I'm going to relate to you, right? That's natural. It doesn't matter if you're an entrepreneur, a politician, a CEO, an executive. It doesn't matter what low that you've experienced in your life. That does not change your brand story and who you are, okay? And so for me, Unscarred Prayers for Healing was an example of me telling my triumph story. It was me telling the world, look at what I've been through. Because let me tell y'all, my whole life people say, oh, look, I look at you and you don't look like you've been through anything. Well, if I did, you probably wouldn't want to hire me for anything, right? But I'm telling you, I tell you these things. I'm transparent about it because I know that there's someone else who has been abused, who thinks because they've been abused that they're not deserving of what God called them to. God called them to. That's real. And so by me sharing my story, people are like, oh my goodness, you went through this and you came out of it. You all have written stories, are writing stories about things that you came out of. Even if it's corporate, even if you're writing business, you had some type of experience in corporate that you want to share with someone else. You got to have purpose behind that. You have to have purpose behind what you're writing. You want to write your book, but you also want to share that story and create a brand story that is compelling. You're connecting. You all told me earlier. You want to connect with the audience, right? Okay. Y'all listening? I see it. So, 3 keys to the success of a credible personal brand, okay? So, we have your audience, authenticity, and consistency. And so, you need to be able to understand yourself, including your motivations and your personality, in order to harness the best elements to shine in your personal branding. And there are multiple things to be considered, and different people value them in different ways. And so you need to decide which are the most important that you want to show. Okay. What are the most relevant attributes? And I don't want to say the term manipulated, but that you can really use and integrate into your brand, because we're not manipulating people. However, we want to show them, we want to put those pieces into our story. We want to make it clear. And it can be helpful for you to make a list of the following. And so, what are your past successes? What are your strengths? What are your goals? I hope y'all writing this down. Your experiences, your passions, your personality traits, your values, your beliefs, your interest. These are all things that you just want to talk about naturally, whether it's social media, on your website. Talk about all of it. Because there was a way that you got to your triumph story, and then through your triumph story, right? And so all of that encompasses your brand. And so what are the words that you want to be used in your brand? What do you want to be associated with? Really write that down. Think about it and say, you know what? When somebody thinks of Bianca, what do I want them to know? And you've written the book. So we're talking, you can always pull pieces from the book, but what do I want people to know about me? That connection, we're always coming back to that connection. And so you write down as many things that I've listed, and then just highlight what stands out to you. And something I do, I'll write it on my mirror if I ever forget who I am, because sometimes we forget who we are. Okay, let's be honest. I'm being transparent, right? Okay, we forget, and so I'll put it on the walls. I'll write it on the mirror. It's like, hey, Bianca, you are loved. God is love. God loves you. You have integrity. You show up in places. You serve. Your heart is pure, right? Who are you? Because the people want to know. When you're talking about these stories, when you're talking about the J.K. Rowlings and y'all remember, everybody knows the story. She was riding on a train. She was broke. Had been writing all those stories and nothing hit. And she just was on a train. I think she was in Europe. And she just started writing. And these Harry Potter books just came out. She started writing and didn't stop writing. And we all know this story because that is the story that she wanted to share. So what is your story that you want to share? Okay? Okay. Let's make sure. Okay, being authentic, yeah. Be truthful. Don't fabricate your story. I'm not telling you to fabricate your story. I'm telling you to pull the good pieces out. How about that? Pull the good pieces out of your story because people are going to fact check you. People are going to want to know. If you haven't made 6-7 figures, don't go out here telling people you made 6-7 figures in a business and that's not what you did, okay? Be honest about it. Because there are other things that you have attained that's not always money related. I want you to understand that. Don't think because you haven't made 6-7 figures, you're not good enough to share the story. Somebody needs your story, and you have to be brave enough and authentic enough to share it, and then be consistent about sharing that story. Once you figured out who you are and what it is that you want to do, share that story, okay? And then as an author, think about what else does your brand identity consist of? And so this is if you want to take a screenshot of that, but this is your personal brand DNA. So this is how, like I said earlier, how the world sees you, who you are, and how you add value. All of these things are important. Okay. Y'all know I'm quick with it. Okay. So core elements include how you're perceived visually. Now, I say this because people think, and I hear it all the time, especially in people who want to move up in the corporate chain, they want to be hired, they want to get a higher paying position, they want speaking engagements, they want to be on TV. I'm going to tell you right now, nobody is going to bring you onto their set to train their people if you just look like you just rolled out of bed. I'm being very realistic with you. And it's kind of naive for people to think that, my looks don't matter. That's what they tell us, right? That's what they tell us. Your looks don't matter. Yeah, just show up. That's all that matters. Come as you are. Right? Yes. That's what we know. So think about that. And then how you connect emotionally and how you engage with people. So we talked about the connection, how you act and behave. This is a part of that consistency. So if I am rude and I have an attitude all the time, you're not going to want to hire me, right? Speaking engagements. If I see you on TV and you're all nice and bubbly, and then I come in here and I have a whole attitude and you ask me, hey, Bianca, hey, This is real because this happens in real life. And then you see how people they came up in success, and then we wonder what happened to them? Where did they go? And then you hear the whispers of, well, they weren't getting along with people on set, and and we never hear about them ever again, or they make a comment about a celebrity or something and we never hear from them again. So you have to be very intentional about what you say, what you do, how you act and behave, how you overcome challenges, the personal and the external, how you speak. If you need to take speaking classes, get ready, because when the opportunities come, and if you know right now that you're not comfortable, if I say, hey, and you're like, then you already know what you need to prepare for right now. God is telling you what you need to prepare for. These opportunities, y'all want these $1 million opportunities, but you're not ready for the $1 million opportunities. It's not going to align and it's not realistic. So we just want to make sure you're ready, right? Y'all want to be ready? I mean, we're talking about $1 billion, $750 million in book sales. There was a reason for that. Okay. Now, keep it moving. If you were to ask your colleagues, your friends, your coworkers about you, what would they say? Think about this. You can screenshot this question too, because I really want y'all to think about this. I mean, clearly I'm very engaging with y'all, but I want you to think. Okay, I want you to think about who you are. I want you to walk away from here today understanding that you need to know who you are in order to get these opportunities. Think about the people you admire. How do they act, speak, and look? Michelle Obama, the grace. Oh, the grace that she has. And we all know, we watched everything that the Obamas were going through, but the grace that they had, how Mr. Obama was able to just step in and speak and have a presence, right? He trained for that. Okay. He had people set up to assist him, but you have to understand what they did so you can do it too. And then what is it that you want to project about yourself to the outside world? Like we said, what do you want them to say about you? And so elements of great brand storytelling, you've got the visual identity. So these are your headshots. Who has headshots right now? Who got good headshots and pictures? Who knows that they need to upgrade their pictures? Who's going to be honest right now and say, you know what, I got pictures, but I need to upgrade, do it. Okay? Your website. Be intentional about your website, your social media, a trailer. And I have my trailer and I'm going to show it to you what it looks like. I creative directed my own trailer. And your image, which is your presence, your brand values. Like we said, what do you want to be recognized for? What's your mission and your vision? And then there's that word again, that connection. How do you want them to feel after encountering your brand? What do you want them to feel when they pick up your book and go and read through it? What do you want them to feel? And what's the next action that you want them to take? Okay. And I know somebody's like, well, why should I brand myself through my image? Like, why is it that important? To be technical, when you become more service oriented. And I'll say why. When your image is taken care of, okay, when the hair, the makeup, the look is complete, now you have the energy to serve others. There is purpose behind this. There is science behind this. If I'm not worried about my hair, if I don't have to worry about getting up in the morning, if I can just do, and go about my day, if I have somebody, we want to get to the point where we have makeup and we have a stylist, right? Once that is handled, it's different. So it also differentiates yourself in interviews and speaking engagements and your funding meetings. If you show up looking like $1 million, what do you think is going to happen? Right? What do you think is going to happen? Okay. So be mindful of that. I just want to show you my trailer. Just only 3 minutes. That's okay. I'm gonna pause it here. What do you notice about the video? What else? What do you notice? Mm-hmm. 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 Very good. What else? What do you notice? Come on. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. How I tied my book, my story, into what is the problem that I'm solving? And I brought that into my video. And I made it, we talked about being relatable and connecting to your audience, right? That's that vulnerability. What you got? That's another one. You see how it's just the little things that come together and make the brand. Even in the trailer was very, now y'all know I was very intentional about everything that was said, everything, I had all my scripts, I had all of that. But I was very intentional about what the story that I wanted people to understand. I didn't want a woe is me story, right? I didn't want to share, I've been abused and y'all know about being abused. And I didn't, that's not what it was. It was, I've been through stuff. And even for me, it was, I was going through stuff even as a child and was still successful. Right? So it's like, you gotta, whatever your story is, whatever your book is, whatever you're talking, you gotta, that's why we say you gotta talk to your audience every single time that you show up, whether it's in video, whether it's your website, whether it's social media. Talk to your audience like you know them, like you've been through what they've been through. That's what they want to hear. If you're solving, especially if you're solving problems in corporate, if you can solve problems for executives and $1 million, $1 billion corporations with your books, y'all think they're gonna hire you to come speak? Because what's key to note is that money that we were talking about did not just come from, now here we go, where do y'all think that money came from J.K. Rowling? Do you think it was all book sales? It said author income. Speaking, she turned the movies, they paid her $500,000 per movie. The first 4 movies, $500,000. That's not royalties or anything like that. That is, here goes this check. Can you come write this movie, turn this into a movie for us? Okay, so there is opportunity everywhere. I just don't want you to think, you know what, I got to sell this book, because you could literally use your book as a lead magnet to your program. Prophet Chanel is going to tell you how to turn it into a course. So if you're intentional about that, if you know what that success looks like, if you know what you want to do, then just having book sales, don't let that deter you. I didn't sell enough books. Use the book as an opportunity. You wrote the book, just don't, because I really, and I'm hearing it, I feel it in your hearts. Well, I want to sell all these books. You will. But I had to do this first. I'm being real with y'all. I had to do these things first. I wrote the book, completed the book, but I didn't start making the sales. Honestly, we're being honest, until I went on TV, until I had all the articles. And then they started like, oh, you're a really good speaker. Hey, come speak for us. Hey, you have a nonprofit that solves these problems. What? You got a book that goes with it too? What? Let me order some of those. Let me get a case of those. So it's just remembering the opportunities, not just to sell the books, but also to bring your brand into media. Just, there's so many different opportunities. So I just want to make sure that you all understand. That was really good. Y'all caught that. See, y'all paying attention. I love it when y'all pay attention. All right. So next. So when your digital footprint, there's a few things. So you've got your website, your social media, you've got press. Lindsay's going to talk about press and SEO. And I really want to focus, while I have the time, on website and SEO today. Okay. So on your website, what's important for you to have? Write this down. Your trailer. Okay, even if it's not a trailer like this, if it's just you talking about your book, the impact that you want to have with your book. We talked about what's the problem that you want to solve with your audience, right? What do you want to help them achieve? Show this on your book, on your website, in your trailer, some type of video, so that they can do what with you? Paying attention. So that they can connect with you, right? You have your bio. You want to make sure that you have a good bio. You want to make sure you have a long bio and a short bio, because normally when people, especially when you do speaking engagement, they're going to want you to kind of shorten it down, but you want to be able to have both of them available. Your book synopsis, okay? What is your book talking about? When I say book synopsis, I'm not just talking about a summary of your book, okay? I'm talking about, what do you solve? What problems do you solve immediately? You have less than 5 seconds to make an impression. 5 seconds. And so if I'm skimming along, y'all know how okay, hello, skimmers. Are you any skimmers in here? When you go and see a website, I'm going to go look for the information. If I don't see the information, if it's not there, what am I doing? I'm clicking out. And so if you have it in bullet points, this is what this book solves. This is my audience. This is who I'm talking to. Make it quick, okay? Your testimonials. Make sure that you are, okay, this is real. I need y'all to understand this. Keep up with your testimonials, because you're not going to get you're not always going to get testimonials on Amazon. As much as you tell your cousins and your friends and everybody else to go leave a review, okay, I'm talking to somebody, am I talking to someone? As much as you tell them to go read a review, however, all those text messages, girl, I read your book, it was so good, oh, it was so good. All those messages that you get in your inbox, those DMs that you're getting, I read your book. They won't leave you the review now. But they'll leave you, just screenshot them. And that's perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with that. because it's still a testimonial. So keep up with that so you can add that to the website so that people can see, okay, so people are reading the book, because people naturally they'll go look on Amazon or wherever you put your book, and they don't see any reviews. So you give them, like, don't make people hunt for information. Okay, just give them the information because you already know what they're going to be looking for. Okay, if you have any frequently asked questions, and this can be frequently asked questions, either if you're doing a speaking engagement or an interview. So if there are specific questions that keep coming up about your book, how did you get started with this book? How did you know what I'm saying? Those types of questions, or if it's frequently asked questions about the topic specifically, make sure you put them on the website as well. Once again, don't make people search for these things, because even when we're talking about speaking opportunities and media and all of these things, if there's something that they can just go and see, oh, you've already, because maybe they don't have questions to ask you. Maybe they probably will, but if they see that there are frequent questions that people that have already been answered, now they know what not to ask you on this interview or on TV or whatever the case may be. Like, you just make it simple. And then your speaker sheet. So attach your speaker sheet. If you don't have a speaker sheet, go ahead. If you have specific topics, I know a lot of you are writing like business books as well. So if you already have topics that you're ready to talk about, go ahead and list that on there. List your bio. I said add that. If you have any press opportunities, your logos, all of those things should be going on your website. Okay. Your SEO. Let's talk about SEO for your website. So Google has a new thing. It's the eat method, that they have changed the algorithm. Okay. And so when you used to be able to write blogs on your website and, do whatever, right? Keyword planning, all of these things for your website. I can, buck the system. I can show up you can't do that anymore. Okay. Google said, if you're not an expert, if you don't have any authority, if I don't see any authority, if you're not trustworthy, your site is no longer showing up. And so what does that mean? Expertise. So I'm going to go down. So if you're showing, what is your expertise? So this is the part of when you're blogging and you have all those topics. These are the specific topics that you talk about. So make sure you're putting that on your website. Make sure you're connecting that to your blog, whatever your expertise is. But also make sure that your expertise is when you're speaking engagement, like connect them together. So when you're speaking, when you have media articles, all of those things, make sure you're talking about the same topic, basically. Because the more you talk about innovation, the more you talk about creativity, the more you talk about personal branding in an article, Google's like, oh, there she is, talking about it again. Oh, she's on Forbes, talking about it again. Okay, that's what's raising your rank now. Having authority, same thing. You have to have be on some type of website that, like a Forbes or something, that has some type of authority. This is how they're ranking you now. You can't just be on your cousin. Like, it does nothing. They don't care about that. So, for me, I'm in school. You think about it. Remember, we had to cite everything. That it's the same thing now with Google. So they want you citing where you're getting information from. They're cracking down on, there have been a lot of, the doctors, the natural doctors, and they make these claims about, losing weight, and Google's like, where's the scientific research? So if you have an expertise, okay, start citing. Peer review. This is taking you back to school. Remember that peer review? Y'all need these peer-reviewed articles. Start connecting and linking peer-reviewed articles to your website. Okay, so that they know if you say that 23% of such and such, they're going to be like, where you get that information from? That's not true. You want to make sure that you have it linked. And Google's going to do it on you. They hire people to do this, right? So just making sure that you're paying attention and that you're trustworthy. They want to make sure, and this is why, because they want to make sure you're trustworthy. They want to make sure you're not out here just telling people, just to sell something, that this is going to happen. So they're cracking down on that, okay? Any questions? Write them down. What you got? You got a question? I'm almost done. And talked about your professional summary. And so here's a checklist for your professional summary. Your professional summary is, I put mine on the back of my book. I also put it on Amazon. So wherever you post your book, if somebody's asking you to post your book somewhere, this is that summary, whatever that you have. And so I say, put a quote from the book. I'm going to show you what this looks like, but put a quote from the book. List out what problems does your book solve, what topics. So this could kind of be your chapters. I wouldn't list out the chapters exactly. And once again, I'm going to show you this, but I would list out what does that chapter solve? That's what I mean. And then tie in your company vision statement, or once again, we're talking to our audience, so tie in their ideal client state. What do you remember? What do you want them to get out of this book? Where do you want them to be when they finish this book? That needs to be in the professional summary, because once again, this people skim, right? And so they're going to use this. So here's an example of that. So my publisher's summary says, you're ready to get over this hurt that has held you confined for many years. You're ready to quit being a victim and let go of all the shame, guilt, anxiety, and fear. You're in college, or you're already working in your career, but you're still being haunted by the memories of your past, and worse. You're still attracting relationships that mimic the abuse and misuse you've already escaped. God wants to come into your life to remake and heal you. Unscarred Prayers for Healing is a spiritual help book, self-help audio book for anyone who has been abused physically, emotionally, and or spiritually, or those who have been misused in relationships looking to heal and find forgiveness so that they can thrive. I'm gonna pause. You hear what I'm doing, right? I'm talking to the person who I want to pick up this book. I'm not talking to everyone. Prophet Chanel talks about niche all the time. I am talking directly to the person, and that's okay. I don't want every other people are going to read this book. As an example, I talk to women, but men come to me all the time and like, well, men go through stuff too. I'm like, yeah, baby, I know, that's okay. You can read the book too. I'm not counting you out. But I know who my audience is. I know who my nonprofit is geared towards, right? So I was strategic about that. And says Bianca Modo takes you on a powerful journey inside her own struggles and creates an atmosphere of trust, forgiveness, overcoming guilt, shame, anxiety, and fear. And then I list out the sections. So what it is that each section is going to cover. And then with a loving, encouraging, and honest touch, what does she do? Bianca guides her worldwide listeners on a transformational journey to becoming who they were truly meant to be, while releasing the fears and excuses used as a crutch to avoid or even hinder the greatness destined for their lives. I was very specific of who I'm talking to. And you want to be very specific who you're talking to, okay? All right. So as a recap, to have a powerful brand identity, you've got to have the mindset. You've got to have the brand story, the identity. What else? Where's my word? Connection, brand assets, audience clarity, consistency and authenticity, a digital footprint, and of course, a success plan. Remember when I told you in the beginning, or asked you to see in the beginning, where do you want to be? Where do you want some on the cover of a magazine? If you're on a TV show, you see it, right? You can have Oprah interview you. If that's what you want, then set up a success plan to do that, okay? So you own a singular distinction and you're known for it. You deliver a consistent and credible message at all times, and you base your brand on your values and pass those on to your contacts and associates. So anybody that encounters you, anyone that picks up your book, anyone that speaks with you and pulls you onto their stage, you captivate them, right, with your story, okay? And I'm done.
Thank you. This was good. Thank you so much. I did want to say something. If y'all have questions, we put mics on there so that our recording can pick up your amazing questions. So it was so good. I learned something, and I learned about the eat method. I thought that was really good. So one day, me and Nikisa were on the phone, and I just decided to Google myself. And you know what? I'm about to take a screenshot and I'm gonna airdrop it because I want you to see what shows up when I Google myself. And you just explain to me why. Let's see who I'm going to airdrop this to. Here we go. It's gonna go to my MacBook Pro that it's on, so it'll show. Do you see it? It's coming. Yep. Let's see. Open in photos. It don't matter. Yeah. Lord, please don't let nothing crazy
I know, right?
come up in my photos. Amen. Oh, look, I got 4 pictures. Oh, look, the first off the celebration.
Okay, wait, is it this?
I think that's it.
This one?
Yeah,
No,
is that at the bottom? Yep, click that. Yep. So I just wanted to share. Is it clicking? Is it coming? Lord have mercy. Let's see.
Come on now.
Would you try the nail?
I know, right?
Look, let me try. Let me try. Okay. Can you, oh, yeah. Can y'all see that? Okay. So I thought that was really cool. So one day I decided to Google myself. And I see that Google created, it's called a knowledge panel.
Yep.
And I didn't know anything. I was like, how I get on Google like that? So I had to do some research. And I realized, like, if you start showing up as an authority, they will automatically, like, I don't care if there's any other Chanel E. Martins or whoever, this one is the one that's showing up, and I show up at the top. And then it gave me a label. It said I was an author. Why? Because I was talking about, I'm known for books and talking about books. So it automatically pulled the information from relevant sites. And it was so funny. So it has a thing on there. If this is you, claim your knowledge panel. So like Google is like creating mini wikis. And we found out it's, if you're, like if you are showing up in your authority, then it's gonna push the experts to the top. So that's why it's important. I just wanted to piggyback off of that so y'all can really see why it's important for you to, if you really want to be an expert, if you really want to be known, you do these things, you get PR, you show up, you talk about the same things. Because like, no, I couldn't have made this. This was not a Wikipedia page that I had my team create. This was something that Google put together. So I just wanted to give that example. I thought that was perfect, and you captured that. Thank you so much.
Yes, and this is that is a great. I was actually going to bring it up, and I was hoping that you sent it. If you didn't, I was going to pick it up. But this is a great example. So being intentional about showing up, this is what happens, and this is what Google wants. This is what you want to happen. You want your websites and you want your articles and all of these things to show up, because I'm sure you all have some unique names, but there are some others, that somebody else might have your name. So you want to make sure that you, the Chanel Emar, is showing up. Does anybody else have any questions? Yes.
Wonderful presentation.
Nope,
Thank
is
you
it
so
on?
much. Great. Can y'all hear me? Okay. So you showed your story video, and I saw that it was attached to your book specifically. So I was wondering if you can just kind of talk about that decision versus your overall brand, as well as talk about the usage for your video, how you leverage that.
So what's different about me is that I am the brand. Okay. So my company is Modo Global. My name is Bianca Modo. Okay. I was intentional about that. My nonprofit is the Bianca Modo Foundation, because one, I knew that I needed to be bold enough this holds me accountable. That's what it was. This holds me accountable to put my name on everything so that I'm showing up with integrity, even though I don't question my integrity, but it forces me to show up. And so with the trailer, I can always create a trailer that is centered around my business. So if you're writing a corporate book, you can still make a trailer that talks about your speaking topics. Or if you want to you can make a trailer about anything, right? But I was specifically using the book as an example because I wanted people to see me, to understand why I wrote the book, to understand who am I talking to, and for them to get a feel of who I was. Like, I could do that, and I could do that with Modo Global, the consulting side of the business as well. That's easy. So it's whatever that you want to do. Remember, I asked, what's most important for you to show up? What do you want people to know about you? Because I can show this and it's going to apply anywhere. So I can show this for my nonprofit. I can show this in my consulting. I'm consulting today, coaching today. So even though it's a book trailer, it still serves as the purpose because once again, I was the creative director. So I put everything together. So it's how you're strategic about when you create your video. There's all these pieces behind that, but just being very strategic about what do you want people to know in that video. Does that make sense? Does that answer your question?
That was the first part. The second part is, what are the many ways you can leverage that video?
So like, where can I put it? Where can I use it? So on my website, on YouTube is basically like a Google search again. So you're putting that information when it shows up wherever you want it to show up. You can put it on Pinterest. You can show it before you can use it as an introduction in speaking. There's many ways to utilize that. So once again, depends on where you're going, what you're doing. If you want to use it in a speaking engagement, and then I would kind of tailor it to that. So I would tweak it. Like I would probably re-edit if I was specifically using it for like corporate speaking engagement. I'd probably tweak it just a little bit to, if depending on what that topic is, I would make sure the topic is relevant to the video, right? That is how I would utilize it. Now, I'm trying to think outside of that. Is there somewhere you have, I feel like, is there a question that you want to know? Yes. So it does go on the website. Yes. Because once again, you're compiling all this information. You want it in one place so that when people are looking you up, so this is not just for the book sales. This is also for the people who are looking to do interviews with you, for the speaking engagements, for like you want anyone that you want to encounter your brand. That is who this video is for, so that they get a feel for who you are and why should they pick up the book or why should they listen to you. They don't necessarily have to pick up the book, but even then they're seeing me. So they're going to want to, I'm not going to buy the book, but I want you to come speak at our event. That kind of thing. You're welcome.
I have one question regarding the EPK, or the one pager, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
Would you suggest using those if you wanted to go to speak at certain venues or businesses, organizations? Can you send those out?
Your speaker sheet?
Your speaker sheet.
Yes.
Okay.
So what's going to happen is, everybody's process is different. So if I'm reaching out to somebody on LinkedIn, and I wouldn't just automatically send them my speaker sheet. Okay. I'm going to answer, I'm going to be like, hey, I've got this topic, this is, would you be interested in me speaking in your organization? Then they're going to be like, well, send me a speaker sheet, send me something to see what your topics are, kind of that's what they're going to look for. And then I would send that to them. Or I'm going to already, once again, have it on my website. So people who are Googling me and researching, they're like, well, what is she, have it at the bottom, speaking engagements, for speaking opportunities, put a link to it down there. I mean, people are going to look for it. The people who want to hire you for speaking engagements, they're going to find it. So either you're going to reach out to someone and they're going to ask you for it, or you're already going to readily have this information available on your website.
Okay, final question for those. I've spoken to a few of the people here that may say, I'm not a speaker, but they want to speak, but they're a little nervous. What type of training would you suggest to start off with? Toastmasters, or come directly to you? That's my final question.
Toastmasters. I don't teach speaking. Definitely Toastmasters. I do not teach, speaking. Yeah. I'm a brand. I do brand coaching, and I'm more confident. So you have to have a confidence to speak. There's a mindset. This is that mindset aspect. You have to have a mindset. Now, if you just want to talk, we want to go through mindset and you want to build up that confidence, like I'm going to give you the tools. I'm going to build it out for you. But when it comes to speaking, because you have to be ready, I'm being realistic. You have to be ready. I just so happen to be ready because I'm just not scared of anything. So, you know, once again, I didn't have any training, any formal training. I was public speak, in school, like high school, and I was on the step team. So, I've always been vocal, but getting in front of a camera, okay, y'all, live TV is different than just recording something in front of millions of people. The Zoe Life was an audience of 90 million. The God Made Millionaire was 90 million. So it's like I wasn't ready for that. So you can't even think about all of these things in the moment, right? You have to literally be in the moment and make sure that your mind is focused on, okay, I got to answer these questions. Because once again, I don't even know what the questions, a lot of time, you're not going to know what the questions are going to be. I'm sure Lindsay's going to talk about that, but you're not going to know. So what you're asking to be prepared for is really you're asking to build up confidence. That's what it is. It's just the confidence thing. And I would tell you, if you're having confidence issues, like if you're like, I don't know how to speak, yes, Toastmasters, because Toastmasters is going to give you to think on the fly. Some of us just do it. Like we didn't go to training for that. But confidence is different. If you're going up there and you know everything and you remembered your speech, but you're like, that's confidence. Okay, so yes to Toastmasters. I do know people who have gone to Toastmasters and love it, but I would focus on building up your confidence and honestly go into the grocery store. This just little things and talk to people. Just strike up conversations with people. That's how you build up your confidence to start telling your story. Just talk to people. Don't be afraid. They give you the elevator speech for a reason. How many of y'all have actually used your elevator speech in an elevator? One person. But that's the purpose of an elevator speech is not just in a networking environment in a group of people and somebody coming and asking you what you're doing. It is literally for you to be intentional and say, hey, oh, hi, somebody says, hey, like, oh, well, hey, well, by the way, just because. So yes.
I got a question or comment or thought before we, as a final one. I know, Chris, that was a good question. So you touched on, since you talked about confidence, it made me think about this and just my own transformation journey. I would love if I feel like you breeze by real quick. You stay ready, you ain't got to get ready, right? I can honestly say most of us are smart. Most of us know our stuff, especially if you wrote a whole book on it, But where I feel like most of us, especially I'm talking to my women, where we get messed up is we don't feel like we look the part or deserve. But I'm going to more specifically talk about look. We will not show up. We will not promote ourselves, right? Y'all, another reason why Chanel E. Martin is showing up is I got 1 million live streams for at least, I don't know, 10 years of whenever live streaming first came out. We was on Periscope, we were everywhere. And I feel like sometimes your first speaking engagement is you getting on IG Live. Your first speaking engagement is you getting on Facebook Live. But then you want to bypass your audience that God already gave. What are you doing with the audience that God already gave you? And you talking about getting on TV and you won't even show up for those of you that are in front of you. You haven't been a good steward over the people that you in front of. So I feel like that is a lot of us aren't doing that because we don't feel like we look good enough, or we got to make sure our hair right, or maybe the man got to have a haircut or something. I would really, real quick, I would love for you to talk about that because I see that and I feel that, and that TV's great, but the way you get ready for TV
is different.
All right.
It's different. And yeah, so showing up on TV is definitely different. So you can't just show up any kind of way. However, if we're talking about being at home, for me, it's as simple as, you know what, I'm just gonna make sure my eyebrows are done, and then it's lighting. So, if you can't go and get the full whatever shebang going, make sure you have good lighting. Lighting does wonders. I know you. Oh my goodness, lighting does wonders. So natural lighting, natural sunlight, it's just gonna give you like that natural glow. And I also feel like it boosts my confidence too. Like if I go out into my office is in the sunroom, and so if I'm not feeling it, I'm like, let me just go out here, and I just feel better because I'm in that sun. And especially if I don't feel like putting makeup on or whatever the case may be. So don't let that deter you from having that confidence. But I said what I said because it's also different. Talking to people on a screen is different than talking to people in person. And I'm trying to prepare you mentally to talk to people either on a stage or in front of people. Because you can do that. Yes, we want you to show up. I don't want you to show up any kind of way online either. But the more that you get consistent about how you're showing up, even if it's just your nice wardrobe and having some signature outfits and things that you're wearing that you can throw on, that's easy. Like, make life easier. That's all I'm saying. Make it easier for you to do it. Have a nice dress, nice suit that you can just throw on, that you don't feel like you have to do a nice lip. Sometimes if I don't want to do, I'll put some the blue light filter glasses on if I don't feel like doing like my eyes. It's just little tricks that help you build that confidence. But show up. Yes, show up online so that you understand that, okay, when I get in front of people, that I have it. But memorizing it, once again, is not going to do anything, because you memorizing your information, if you don't know how to speak, or you just don't have the confidence to get in front of a people, because it might be, it's just a lot of people that we know that talk online and then they get in front of people and it's like, what happened? Like, you're not the same person. Remember, I talked about that consistency. So be the same person that you are online. So with that being said, if you want to show up like that in real life, why not show up like that online? That's all I'm saying. And thank you.
Thank you.